Productions.
Well, hello and happy Black History Month. I am here today, of course, the Chef Tiffany, and you're definitely in my personal creative kitchen today for Black History Month. What I'm making today is going to be my coffee braised, bourbon braised short ribs. I'm going to have some collard greens. We're going to do some polenta cakes or grit cakes, whichever you want to call it. We're going to do those today, spice it up, make it really yummy. So right now, as you can see, I do have, I'm gonna get a little bit closer. I do have my braised ribs. I have about 2 pounds. It's just me. So I do have those ready to go. They are room temp. We're gonna first start with those. I'm gonna give my hands a wash because we don't do cross-contamination here. This is one of my favorite dishes. It has so much history into it with us using the braised beef, the short ribs, which if you don't know, they're a tougher piece of meat coming from the cow. We do have some turkey necks here as well. We're going to use to flavor up our greens. We would use ham hock or salt joe, but we're not today because we're eating healthy, a little bit healthier, a little bit more knowledgeable, but still we're using pieces that are not always have been used. We also have some collards here. I know my mom is still gonna be upset because I still didn't pick them, but they had it at the store, so there you go. But we do have some beautiful collards here. We have kosher salt, sea salt. We're gonna have some green garlic here. We do have some fresh peppercorns, well, dry peppercorns. We have some cayenne pepper, onion, cumin, paprika, a little bit of ginger. We of course have our coffee here. So let's get started. First thing I'm gonna do is remove my greens and my ham hocks right now, just because I don't really need them right now. We're not gonna get ready to start them. That's why you don't see my grit cakes. But I'm gonna put them over my other side of my kitchen, just because we don't want any cross-contamination right here. I do have my lovely Cuisinart food processor. I've been having it forever and ever. So I'm gonna get some glasses here, need some plates here so we can do some measurements. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna get this braised ribs. We're gonna braise them. We're gonna let them braise overnight, 6 hours to overnight. And then we're gonna come back to them, sear them up, get them cooking. But we gotta get the mixture together. The mixture typically can be anything that you naturally eat with coffee. We talk about coffee because coffee is one of those natural things that come from Africa that they use. And as I was stating in my other videos, they saw that when they came over, when they were, you know, how they got here. You know how we got here. And we know we're celebrating this month, but you know what it is. But we came over here, we started seeing things that we saw at home that we naturally started to use in our kitchen. So right now I just have a dark roast coffee grind. I'm gonna pour inside of here. And I'm gonna make some spices. It's an Ethiopian mix, but you can go to get the same thing at, you can make your own. A lot of spices that they use are gonna be ginger, cayenne, the things you see here, paprika, cumin, onions, all of that. So what I have today is I'm gonna have like about here, I want a little bit more. Got a couple a lot of ribs in here. So I'm gonna go here straight in. Maybe about 2 cups, maybe, I don't know. For anybody here who's trying to recreate this dish, you just, I mean, you hit me up and maybe we can work something out. So, but I'm gonna put some dry ground coffee in here. I do have some lovely garlic. You like to use elephant garlic. It's just a bigger garlic. If you've ever seen it, it's humongous. HEB carries it. I've never really seen it at Walmart, but I have seen it there. It's huge. But since we don't have it, we're gonna kind of use a little bit double of the garlic cloves. Again, I'm gonna use some fresh ones because I just don't really like, what's going on, what's happening right now with the feel of those. So I'm gonna put our knife and open them up. And if you don't know, this is a garlic bulb. People always put me, I can get the garlic. Give me 4 pieces of garlic, the cloves. And they're like, oh, they're bringing like 4 bulbs. No, these are the cloves here. I'm gonna pop that skin off of them because we're gonna put them inside of the the food processor to get our kind of like our marinade, our brine, really more so a brine to put on the top. So someone also asked me, did you use brown sugar because you're doing a brine? You can. I'm just not, because I want a nice, strong, robust flavor. So I'm not using it. I'm using my coffee. It's going to break down the meat as well and tenderize it. So I'm going to put this in here. My garlic. I think some fell, because that's just how it works in my real life. I'm putting the garlic cloves inside of here. And you're gonna see me add the actual the other seasonings inside of here. I'm gonna add the granulated. I'm gonna still add some granulated garlic. I'm still gonna add some salt. Still gonna add some pepper and the paprika and a little bit of the cumin inside of here. I would say almost a tablespoon of each, just to be, you know, if you want to ration it out. I'm not going to pretty much measure. We're going to add it inside of here, and we're going to get this marinade going. And also, one thing we're going to do is we're going to use the bourbon we're going to use, because Black History Month, I'm going to use Uncle Nearest, that premium bourbon. That is the first actual bourbon distillery in the United States. I can't remember the actual date. Look it up, maybe something to do. But it is. That's why I'm going to use that as well to put inside of everything. The greens are Ethiopian that we're going to use. And of course, slaves had to use the worst pieces. So they had to end up using the cheaper cuts, which would be the short rib, the oxtail, things of that nature. So they'll be using those kind of things for their meals. So you want to hear the connection. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to open this up because I don't think I've used it yet. But this is my granulated garlic. And am I going to use that? No. I'm just going to put some in here. I'm going to add I'm going to actually add some sea salt to it, because that's technically what they would have used. Just a little bit more. This sea salt is more, it's big granules, just like the kosher salt. So I'm gonna add a little bit more in there. I have my peppercorns. I'm actually gonna open this up. And this is a grinder, so we don't need this to grind it, because we are grinding. So we're gonna go here. It's about 2 teaspoons. I'm gonna add inside of here. Braising is one of my favorite cooking methods. And if anybody wants to know where I got this from, it's from IKEA. I think it was like $2.99. All right, so now I'm gonna add my paprika. Just a little bit of that in there. Gotta get some color in there. We're gonna put a little bit of onion in there. Obviously, I haven't used these. So add a little granulated onion in there. We're gonna add a little bit of cayenne pepper, just a pinch, not a lot, just a little bit. All right, I want too much. And then we're gonna add this. And I'm gonna get a swig of ginger to add in here. Just a hair bit of ginger. All right, I'm gonna add that in there next. Now, with the food processor, if you've never used it, it has the blade already inside. I'm gonna attach it. The cool thing about a food processor is that it doesn't work if you don't put it together right. So here goes nothing, because I usually try it. I've been doing this for years. Let's see where it goes, okay? So I'm gonna just poke it really, really good. Just till we get to where we want it to be. Smells delicious. So I do have a Ziploc bag here. I'm gonna put it in the refrigerator, but first thing I'm gonna do is I have my red cutting board, just so we won't have any cross-contamination. Then once we use this red cutting board today, it won't be used again until it's been cleaned, rinsed, and sanitized, which we will have others that we'll use in place of this. So I have my ribs. Let me get all of this out of the way so that we can see the magic. right, so get that out of the way. Boom. I'm gonna push this forward. I'm gonna put them on here. Got those babies right there. Got my Ziploc bag ready. Get that out the way. And all I'm gonna do is, typically I would use a bowl, but I want you guys to be able to see the process. So I'm just gonna sprinkle it and pack it on here. I'm literally gonna rub it all the way on. Get a good coating on here. Really good coating. It smells amazing. Now you may not use all of it, but you really want it to be nice and covered. You want it to be look just like this one here. So, I'm getting them really good. Mixing them all the way around. And getting them going. I want every piece covered. All right, so I have my Ziploc bag here. I'm gonna put them inside my bag. Just like so. And I'm gonna put a little bit of this in here, don't worry. Just a little bit, and I'm gonna shake it all around and do the hokey pokey. I'm gonna put it all in here. Good and coated, smells really yummy to my tummy. I'm gonna take the air out of this bag. So I'm gonna put this in the refrigerator. I'm gonna marinate for about 6 hours or overnight. Now, can you marinate this for about 2 to 4 hours? I would say 4, give or take, at least 4, to incorporate all the different good, the good flavors inside of here. But we're gonna put this in the refrigerator. Okay, the greens are up next. And the reason I say that is because they're gonna take a little bit of time, but not a lot of time. I think people get the misconception of overcooking greens. And they don't need to be cooked anymore. They still need to be firm to bite. All right, they still need to have some kind of texture. I hate when I go to people's house and I eat them and the greens disintegrate in my mouth. I'm like, was I just eating something? Nothing is swallowed because it's overcooked, it's mushy. And it's just not, to me, it doesn't give a great flavor. Everybody uses different ingredients for this. Remember I told you Ethiopians, they don't cook theirs that long. They don't even use stock. They use a little bit of water, very little, and they kind of saute it up. It's not really a true, what we do here in the States, slow cooking and things like that. And my theory with slow cooking is that it just brings the flavor in. We learn how to make stocks. We learn what they were and how they do it. When we're making greens, I think we get the misconception is, especially with collards, because turnips and mustard don't take that long at all. I think we feel like we have to, again, I reiterate, cook them to death, and we don't have to do that, guys. I have my stock pot here. I'm not making this much today. Again, it's just moi. So I don't want to make too much, I'm not gonna eat it all. But with my greens, as I said, I have my ham hocks here, and there's other meat you can use, because the reason that we use salt, Joe, use those fatty parts, is because this is more of a tougher green like kale. And we need to salt it heavily. And when you use a salt, Joel, and all of that, fatback, all those things, they're heavily salted, they're cured. Same thing with the turkey wings. Now that we know that we can use those, but could you go get it? Because essentially we're making a stock. I try to reiterate that to everybody I know. I make my stock first. I get my turkey wings. Well, actually, it's my turkey necks because these are my favorite. I love turkey necks. My grandmama did used to make them for me and put hot sauce on them. They used to go down. But I love the turkey necks. I'm going to use those today. I put them in the water. I let them simmer. That creates a stock, well, really more of a broth because it's meat on there, but we're not doing we're not doing a deep culinary lesson. If you want to learn, just call your girl, I'll let you know behind it. But we are going to do that. We're going to I usually start that, let it cook for about 45 minutes. Then I come back and then I add my greens. And I make my greens for about 30 more minutes. And I know some of y'all greens like, they ain't too long, they gonna be tough. They not, I promise. They won't be that way. They'll be amazing, good texture that you can be able to warm up the next day. Heck, you can even freeze them, you can warm up the next day, they still have that texture. They're not slimy, they're cooked really well. So what I'm saying, I'm going to add me some turkey necks in here. If you don't eat turkey neck, I'm going to save this one because we're not using just really heavy. We're not making a whole lot. And really, I'm going to make this a little bit of stock because I really want to saute these collards up. I want to show you as well, that are stewed. They don't have to be fully boiled in water. We're just going to kind of stew them just a little bit. I want the color to pop. So I'm going to add the water to it. I'm going to cover up I'm going to go half of my pan, not a full water all the way over it. I'm going to put it down and I'm going to put it just about halfway into the stock pot. Then I'm going to add it on here because I want to show you different ways to do everything. And the whole goal is you want to be healthy, you want to make sure that you want to keep the nutrients in there. You don't want to, again, you don't want to kill this. So I'm going to get it, it's halfway full here. I'm going to get it on the stove. I'm going to go and turn it on. I'm going to let it start cooking, get the flavor in there. And also, if I want to make this turkey stock, you typically don't find good turkey stock at the store. So anytime, Thanksgiving, your bones, all that, go and make it into stock and then make your greens, so on and so on. So that we have our greens here. I'm going to put these to the side because I'm done with this. I'm going to freeze these because I want to use them again for something else. But my brunch class probably in here. Plug. Go to FabFitTips.com. I'm going to put this here. The greens over because you're going to use them right now. I am going to put some onion in there. Onion is going to be that aromatic, that major flavor. I hate people don't like onion, don't eat it, but it's in everything that you eat, essentially. Even if you don't see it, it's there. Because it brings us that flavor. We call it our mirepoix, or I call it our background flavors, the aromatics, everything, aromatics, everything that you see. So when you see, to me, when you hit mirepoix is 2 parts onion, 1 part carrot, 1 part celery. You're going to use that, and it's going to bring all the flavors, all those goodness together. To me, I love aromatics because it brings me back to a time, I know it's like either Thanksgiving or when I'm sick and my mom made homemade soup. Whatever it is, everybody has different smells. When they smell it, like, oh my God, it smells like vegetable soup. Or, oh, it smells like Thanksgiving. Or it just smells like loving going on in the house. So I'm going to give a little onion, slice it up. I love to put onions in my greens, slice them up. I go and add it to my stock. I don't necessarily wait until my greens are in there. It just depends. So while we're letting the stock go, we want to get to a little boil and then turn it down to a simmer. Once we get it there, then we can officially add the greens and have everything mixed inside. So while we're doing that, I'll talk about some things that we did talk about on the other podcast. Is that the lucky thing for me is I got to be able to be with my great-grandmother. And both 2 of my great-grandmothers. I got to, 3. I'm definitely overtime blessed. I got to get in the kitchen with them. But when I was little, I will tell you the truth. My siblings will tell you I did not eat. I did not like food. Not in like in the sense of I didn't want to eat what they were making. It was hard to get me to start eating with certain things I like, turkey necks and fruit cocktail. Those were my things. My great-grandmother Minnie Bell, or we call her Big Mama, she was an actual cook for the county judges in Dallas for 30 years. When I went to her house in on Altamisa, she would always cook all this food. She had a chicken coop. She had all this stuff. We never went to the grocery store. We went to the feed store. And we would wake up for breakfast and we would literally eat. For breakfast, we would wake up, we'll have a slab of ham. We would have grits. We would have oatmeal. We would have pancakes. We would have biscuits that she made in the refrigerator. They would rise up as we went in there and daily. And that was like breakfast. And then homemade, my favorite, orange marmalade jelly. She made all the jams, preservatives, everything she made. And then After that, we would eat lunch. Lunch would be catfish, collard greens, and it would be some type of homemade hush puppies and a pie. Then we'd go have dinner. Dinner would be meatloaf and cabbage and mashed potatoes. And as a kid, I remember me saying, all I want is a bowl of cereal. Cause that's what, not mom was a home cook too. Let me shade, let me get beat up after this thing. But she was a home cook too. But we didn't eat that heavy. And so I asked her one day, why do you cook so hard? And she said that was her job. She said my parents were slaves. And I was like, wait a minute, run that back. Run it back. Slave. Like, and I mean, for real, y'all probably, it's, I think I'm a kid, don't they? I said, like, Kunta Kinte, because all I knew at that time was Shaka Zulu and Kunta Kinte on Channel 13. All right, so that's what I knew. So she said yes. And that was her job. Her role was to cook for them while they were outside working the fields in Joppy. So that was the thing that it changed my whole, me and my sister were just like dumbfounded, and my brother was just kind of like, what? Like, what? Because we're looking at her as, she was always a very strong woman, very assertive. And I can't tell those funny stories on here, but she was she was a very strong woman. She didn't play no games, but she could cook her butt off, and she did it every day with ease. This is like every day we had something different. There was no such thing as a leftover. And so when I learned that, that didn't bring my passion to cook, but it did bring my sense of awareness of what was going on in there. I didn't want to be a chef until I was 6 in the 6th grade, but also when I was little, I used to play with leaves and stuff outside and collard greens, mud sandwiches, whatever I was doing. But when I did become a chef, one of my odes was to my grandmothers, because I am their dreams. I'm living out their dreams, because even though she was a county chef, cook for 30 years, she was never a certified chef. That just was a job that she did, and she did it with pride. So anytime I get up and cook, it's for them. At Thanksgiving, one year I cooked everything from scratch. I did even the butter. I made everything the way that they would make it. It was very difficult. I would say it was more difficult in making the butter because it would cost a lot. I was like, oh my God, it's a little heavy cream. I would make too much butter. Like, ugh. But every time I cook with a passion. I cook with them in mind. My grandmother Irabelle, my grandmother Vera Lee, who always told me that it's okay to walk alone, and also look good every day, because you never know when you're gonna get fired. She's my marriage. We'll talk about that another time too. But and also Ethel Lee, my great grandmother who lived to be 104. My other grandmother Effie Lee, who I can still, when I smell some smells of cinnamon and things like that, take me to her making peach cobbler. We were playing down the street and we could smell it up the street and knew she's making peach cobbler. So I was always brought around a rich culture. Even my mom, she worked a full-time job for the federal government, and she always came home and cooked us, made us beautiful parfaits. She still cooks. Now we butt heads now, because she likes Sandra Dee. She has her thing and I have my thing. So we cook at separate houses and we meet up in the middle. But it's all love. But I do want to say that in Black History Month, that it's an everyday thing for me. And my grandfather, I don't want to say that, I'm going to forget that. My grandfather, my big mama's actual son was a certified chef in the military, the Navy, in Italy, and all that. So all of those things came to me, but it didn't come to me. I didn't know anything about it. I just knew when I told my parents I wanted to be a chef. They're like, "Oh, you want to be a chef?" My mom was like, "No, you're going to be an accountant. You love numbers, da da da." And it's a hard job and all that. And I still went to, got my degree in accounting and all of that stuff, and came back and still went to culinary school. So, but when I say that I was blessed to be brought around amazing food, I was amazed. I was brought up in households where we ate out. We would eat out a lot. And it was okay because, we loved it. Now that doesn't mean everybody in my family know how to cook. No, it does not. So I'm not going to shade anybody today. But I did want to give you a little background of why cooking is so important to me, why Black history, why cooking and telling your roots and telling your stories, because everything we do, food is a universal language. We'll always speak to somebody with food. So So anytime you're serving somebody, anytime that you are, they're sad, they're happy, it's around food. Every culture, it's around food. Just like this food here, it takes me back to when I was a child and I didn't want to eat. And that food was still sitting there. You know, just like on Crooked, that food was still there. I would go eat the peas. So those things are what made me. So I know I joke a lot. If you see me on social media, you see me doing a lot of things, but I'm always focused, and this is one of the things that I definitely take pride in, especially because I know that literally my ancestors, the ones I can look at, I can say their names and call their names, that this is what they would have wanted to do, and maybe not, but even having the role, the anxiety, the choice to be able to actually do it as a profession, that is the only job that they could get. So, and saying that while I need to be slicing these up, is that I think the hardest thing is being a woman in the industry, but also being a Black woman in the industry, because it's a male-dominant white society. Not right or wrong. These are just pure facts. And I know that I did do a video for some chefs last month. It was already starting to smell good in here. Talking about what it feels like to be a woman in the industry. I think it's an amazing thing. We work hard for the positions that we get. A lot of times we always start at Bourbon. We always start at pastry. They always say, oh my God, I ain't gonna pastry, you know. And sometimes we have to work our way up. Some people may have a different story, but they're not Tiffany, and this is my show, this is my view, this is what happened to me. So a lot of times I applied for those sous chef positions and I had to work my way up to them. I didn't get them off the bat. And a lot of times, because you know me, I'm gonna have on something. One day we had a barbecue for everybody. I came in, I had just got hired. I had my big hair in, big curls. I had on my skinny jeans. I had on my Crocs. I had on my heels. And I'll never forget, my executive chef was like, "Oh, you must be the new head of the front of the house." I'm like, "No, sir, I'm your sous chef." And the next day, I was your saute cook. And the next day I came in, and my schedule said Grandma J, and I'm like, "What?" Because he took the outside and not what the inside is, and it's okay because I think getting out the mud is it's very amazing. So it's just one of my things. So while I'm adding these in here, I'm gonna put these on both sides. I have a Dutch oven here in the back as well, because I can use either or. I also put peppers in mine. I love whole peppers. I love them sitting. If you ever eat my greens, my friends will tell you that they are very hot. I love a really good heat. In my Cajun Trinity, I add other types of peppers, not just bell peppers, because I want to get that flavor. After we get the greens started, it's almost there. Just letting it cook. It's right at a simmer. I want it to get to a little boil, and then I'm going to add my greens to it, turn down the heat, and let them cook. All right, so now we're going to talk about the grit cakes. All right, grit cakes are my favorite. Polenta is another one of those ingredients that they had all the time. They had cornmeal, which is cornmeal. They had it all the time. They could use it. They use it in different ways, just the same way that we're going to use it today. I have a little bit of chicken stock. I have some packets because they didn't have any at the store. So there you go. So what I'm going to do is I have a little bit of stock here. I'm going to add it in. I kind of ratio 3 to 1. So these packets are one packet, half a cup. So I have a full cup here. I think I did a full cup here, and then I'm going to add the grits to it. And that's when I add the sugar. But it can take a long time to make them up. We're going to end up putting them in this pan. I'm going to lay them flat. I'm going to let them chill, come back, stir them up. They're going to be done. They're going to be delicious. You'll see all of this kind of come together right before the actual entrees come together, because it doesn't take a lot of time for these. They're just literally just warm because they're always done. And I like doing these because they're still creamy on the inside. They're not crunchy. And so we don't have to worry about them getting the lumps a little bit later on or tomorrow or the next day, because I can just put these, not make them all the way up, sit them in the refrigerator, and pull them out when I need them, or freeze them and pull them out and let them thaw and things like that. All right, now it's time to do the grit cakes. The grit cakes have set, they have chilled. I make them into little triangles, or I'll make them into a circle. I try to make them into a shape. They can be bigger, they can be thicker. I just use this little bit of my little favorite brownie pan. Typically, sometimes I'll have them this thick, the width of actual this, and then I'll just cut them up in bigger slices. But today I didn't make that much. I just want to get a cute plate going. So we have them here. I have my pan ready. I'm going to sear them in a second. I'm going to bring the camera over here so you can see it, and then we're going to start putting this plate together. All right, so we're about to get started with the actual shortbreads. I want to show this is my favorite pan. This is that whatever pan. I can't remember the name it was, but this was at Target. This is the Chrissy Teigen before her little whatever happened with her in Target. But this is my favorite. This is a huge cast iron skillet. My fave. I cannot find one like it anywhere. Lodge doesn't have it. Chrissy Teigen. If you just happen to be swirling and whirling around this, we do want you to make some more products, and if you do, like, just have your paying attention to them. So, but this is amazing. I like it. It's a good pan. We can make a sauce out of it. I love this pan for paella. I love it for risotto. I use it for everything. This is my everything pan. So, with that getting started, I'm gonna get it heated up. Remember what I told you? Let me move my Dutch oven out the way. What I told you is that when we are cooking, we want to do a hot pan. We want to have a sizzle. We want to have a real sizzle, razzle dazzle in there. So I'm going to bring back my Nifio red pan because now I'm pulling it out. Here's the meat. It's been sitting. It's been glazed all in there. I'm going to put it out. It's not as shiny. I'm not going to joke because it has been overnight. It's just been a little bit. It's been about a couple of hours. It's been about 4 hours. Just because I didn't have the time. I didn't know I was making today. So, there you go. But it's just me, and I'm going to say, no, I'm going to be eating this for a couple of days. I'm going to freeze it and then go eat it again later on in life when I can actually have these products. So I'm going to let it sit out. Usually I let things sit out and get room temp. I told you about that. But look, even at this time, I'm worried about the moisture. I'm not worried as much about it because I'm going to cook it slow and low. I'm going to cook it in this amazing pan, put it in the oven. Then I'm going to forget about it, which is what I always tell you that I forget about things. And I say forget about it in a way like I'm literally not going to forget about it. But I'm going to go do other things. I'm going to go out and live my life. So 9 times out of 10, while this is heating up, it's getting heated up in here, I am going to, when I start to cook slow and low, I'm going to go run. I'm going to go take all this off, go run outside, do my cardio, come back in, take a shower, come back in, finish this off, go to bed. See how it works? So it does it. Everything comes together at the same time. I'm going to have a plate for you guys. It is now 9:13. I'm going to have a plate for you guys probably right at 10. And then I'm going to go to bed. I'm going to be like, bam. But I got to sleep in late tomorrow. So, but this is how it's going to primarily look. I don't really want to add any more seasoning to it. I am going to make a cold batch of coffee because that's what we're going to be glazing playing with the bourbon. And I'm going to make a sauce out of that coffee, making a little bit of roux with the pan dripping. Hopefully you'll be able to see it. I'm going to have my pan thing sitting right over it. I can tell that it's getting hot. I'm going to add just a little bit of oil into it, a little bit of oil just to let it cook. I would say olive oil, but I'm going to add just a little bit of olive oil. Put a little oil mix to blend. Now you're seeing some of the crust as I turn it over. This is the magic, folks. This is the magic right up in here. This is how it happens. This is how it looks. Alright. This is before it goes back into the oven. I'm going to let it cook on all 4 sides. I'm going to put in another pan, and I'm going to take this pan and make it into a sauce. All right. But we're going to have to call back on that because it's going to have to cook for a little bit. Okay, you can see how it looks now. So we're going to add a little bit of turn it off the heat. We're going to add a little bit of the bourbon in there, and we're going to let it cook with a little bit of the coffee. Make sure it cools down just a second. gotta make sure you ain't burning up the house. This looks amazing! This looks amazing! We're just cleaning out that pan. Cleaning out that pan. Cleaning out the pan. This is why you have your heat off when you're doing it. Because you want to make sure you ain't killing nobody. You ain't killing nobody. Alright, I'm going to add just a hair bit. Oh, it looks so good now. Oh my God, y'all see. Y'all see. Alright, so now we're going to add just a wee bit of chicken stock. I didn't do this the last time, but I do want to add just a little bit with the bourbon. And we're going to take this pan and we're going to put it in the oven. We're going to take the bourbon and we're going to let it do what it do. We're going to let it cook slow and low in the oven. Remember I told you the thing about forgetting about it? That's what we about to do. We're about to forget about it. Alright, we're going to put it in the oven. Let it cook. Turn off my heat here. It's already off. And now we're going to get ready for adding some more stock to here, letting this cook. Okay, our fire is now ready. I just checked it. I'm gonna bring these over here. And I'm just gonna sear them. That's what you wanna hear. And I get to use my favorite, what I always say I cannot do without in the kitchen, which is my fish spatula. I love it for desserts, for anything, or for things like this. We're just picking it up. You don't want it to really take any grease with it. So we're gonna use just a fish spatula. Y'all go get you one. It's at Amazon, but don't get the little plastic flimsy ones. Those really are no good. Get the metal ones because they're amazing. So I'm letting them sear here. Still got two to the side. As you can see, the thickness really, really good right here. And that's what we want. You know, we want a good little sizzle. And again, you should already have a hot pan. I had the pan hot while I was talking to y'all, but no oil. Then I added the oil in, so everything was ready to go. It was boom, boom, bam. We're gonna lift it up a little bit. Ooh, nice little sear, nice little color. Now they are a little bit browner, but that's because I use chicken stock because that's what I had on hand. Typically, I would use fish stock. And all I typically do is just warming these up, cooking them, and so they can still be soft on the inside. And they won't be cold. So I'm just letting them sear on all four sides. Then we're gonna put the plate together and it's gonna be a thing. And I also stand them up too. I still can use this, picking them up. I use it and let them sit. So I want it to be seared and nice and crisp, but warm in the middle on all sides. Don't try this at home if you don't have hot hands. You could use tongs, but I'm not looking for any. This is my creative kitchen, so I'm creating my own tongs. So there you go. All right. Make sure that inside is done. There we go. Put you back down. There we go. All right. Guys, here it is. This is it. Look, it's dark. It's gonna be dark because you have the char from the cast iron skillet. You're gonna have the coffee because I made a coffee sauce inside of it. Made me a little bit of mustard hot sauce, kind of like maybe au jus that you want to call it, a little sauce, because I gotta have my hot sauce and my mustard. I love it. And my collard greens, you see. And I just want you to take a peek at this, y'all. It's just, all I gotta do is, it's sick out here, you know? It's just pick it, nothing to it. So yummy to my tummy. So, there you go. Very good. Looks amazing. It's about to go. Look at that, look at that, look at that, look at that.